Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to our coffee times to talk about horror. And today I would like to keep on the nostalgic theme, and I'm here today to talk to you about books that you might enjoy if you love Goosebumps.
It's coffee time.
So the month of April, it is the Oldschool April readathon, and this month I decided to do a couple of videos that are kind of related to it because every year I have so much fun and enjoyment with that readathon, and I wanted to give you guys options of other books that you can read if you love Goosebumps, but maybe you've read all the ones that are out there, or you've read all the ones you already have, or you simply are looking for other books that might give you the same feeling and you want to try other middle grade spooky books. I have a total of 10 book series recommendations, so let's get started. I don't think I really have to introduce these series, but Goosebumps is a series of books. They are all spooky, they are from middle grade readers, and they are all written by American author R.L. Stine. The protagonists of these stories are teens or preteens that find themselves in really scary circumstances. Of course, it often involves the occult, it involves monsters, it involves curses, the paranormal, supernatural, anything. There's a total of 62 books that were published between 1992 and 1997, but also R.L. Stine did a couple of spin-off series. From Goosebumps, the books also came a TV show, a video game, merchandise, even comic series, and there is a couple of movies as well. So needless to say that this is a big franchise, and one way or another, I'm sure we've all come across Goosebumps. Goosebumps does explore multitudes of themes, so we have different things that you can expect from these books because it's not just about the horror and the mysteries. You also have adventure, you have fun, you have fantasy, you have comedy. Like, these books have a little bit for everyone because obviously there are so many books that there's a lot of different stories. The Goosebumps books are, though, mainly horrors and thrillers. However, R.L. Stine has said multiple times that he always wanted to combine the scary with the fun. So these books also have a lot of humor in them, which I think it's a great way for kids to get in touch with horror, you know, make it fun. Each book features a different kid, a different setting, and a different story. A lot of the characters from Goosebumps stories are placed in isolated locations like a boarding school or a camping site, foreign cities, suburban areas, so it is a little bit like isolating the setting to make it even more spooky. Also, we have something that occurs a lot in these books, which are some horror tropes, which is that either our main character has moved to a new place or they had to go live with one of their relatives. The Goosebumps series basically puts kids in very scary situations and they just have to figure out how to get out of it. And it's interesting because R.L. Stine at some point got so used to writing the stories that sometimes he would write one book in just 6 days. The books are mostly written in first-person narrative and they all have a twisty ending. If you loved Goosebumps as a kid or if you have just discovered them as an adult, it doesn't matter. If you love this type of quick, cheesy, fun horror stories, I am here to recommend you 10 other book series that you can try. First, we have the Shivers series that was written by M.D. Spencer, and it is one of the longest ones in this list because it has a whopping total of 36 books. So far, I have only been able to find 4 because it's hard for me to find this type of book series since most of them were mostly published in the US. They were all written by M.D. Spencer, who is also an international journalist. These horror novels are all between 120 and 125 pages, and they are targeted to audiences between 8 and 14 years old. The series was obviously created during the popularity of the Goosebumps series, and it follows, you know, a similar vibe. The series was originally published between 1996 and 1998. However, they were republished for Kindle, like as ebooks, I think in 2011, and that kind of gave life again to the series because a lot of people started to get familiar with it and started getting the books. I'm still gonna try to find the ones that I'm missing, but I don't know how or when. But I think I should get back to hunting this type of books because I used to have a lot of fun trying to hunt them down, and lately I haven't had much time to do so, but sometimes it's fun to try to find them somewhere near me because trying to get books from the US is very expensive, not because of the books, but because of the shipping. Moving on to another series called Strange Matter series, and this is another long one because we have here a series of a total of 37 books. It was created by Mary M. Engel and by Johnny Ray Barnes Jr. It takes place in the fictional place of Fairfield, and every book is going to follow a different character that lives there. So very similar to the Fear Street books, you know, that all take place also in the same town. The series ran from 1995 to 1997, but sadly after that it was cancelled. Very sad story. However, something interesting happened with this book series, and that is that they got some sort of spin-off, and the book series was called Strange Forces, and it followed the 10 first characters from the 10 first books of the series, and I think that's really cool, especially for people that maybe were sad that it was cancelled. At least they still got to revisit some of the characters from the first books. Unfortunately, this new spin-off series was going to be 8 books, but they stopped after book 4, so then again it was cancelled. Another sad story for this one. Another series that I would like to recommend you is Dead Time Stories, and this is a series of books that were published in 1996 by an author called A.J. Gascon, which is basically a combination of the names of the 2 authors that actually wrote these books. There is a total of 17 books in this book series, and something that was like new is that they introduce some scares and some thrills that we had not seen before, which are Ouija boards and evil fairies. So it's fun to see that even for middle grade readers, you can always bring new things to the table, including a Ouija board. Dead Time Stories are children's books that kind of wanted to mirror as well Goosebumps. So in the stories we follow kids that are trying to fight against, you know, the paranormal, monsters, whatever it is that is threatening them directly or is threatening the town, you know, so directly or indirectly, but it has kind of like the same premise. So again, these are series perfect for you guys if you want to read more things like Goosebumps. Also, because there were so many scary shows coming out on television, Nickelodeon decided to pick this up as well and turn it into a TV show. It only ran for 11 episodes, but it is similar to Are You Afraid of the Dark and other TV shows like that were very popular back in the day. And similar to Are You Afraid of the Dark, the TV show always started the same way, which was with a babysitter that was gonna tell us a story. Next we have Bone Chillers, and from this book series I've only managed to find one so far, but it is very precious to me. I'm still hoping in the future to find more, as always, but I think this is going to be such a fun thing for me to do throughout my life, to try to find these books. This one is very similar to Goosebumps. It's probably one of the ones that comes closer, and also similar to Spooksville. There's a total of 23 books, and normally every book has a different character, but there are some characters that come back. So we will meet new characters as well as some older characters. And similar again to Spooksville or other places where bad things happen, we're kind of in the same location, and apparently in this place a lot of bad things always tend to happen, you know, and people don't seem to wonder why it's always there. The series is mostly written by Betsy Haynes, who created the series, but there's also other authors that contributed. Also similar to Goosebumps, they also got a TV show with 13 episodes, and they would have recurring characters that would come back for the episodes. The TV show was released in 1996, and sadly it only ran for 1 season. And similar to Goosebumps, the author came up in every episode, but not at the beginning. At this time, Betsy Haynes always appeared at the end of every episode, and it was kind of to encourage children's curiosity and encourage them to think for themselves. In number 5 we have Spine Tinglers, and I just love the names for these series. Spine Tinglers sounds so much fun. This series was released in the 1990s, and again it was released because of the popularity of Goosebumps, so we have Goosebumps actually to thank for mostly all of these. The series had a total of 30 books, and they are all written by different authors, but they all use the same pseudonym in order to keep it, I guess, coherent, but it is written by different authors. Some of the stories that a lot of people talk about that they tend to remember the most. One of them is the Monster Channel, which was like an old TV that was able to release monsters into the real world. And the other one is called Camp Crocodile, and as the title implies, there is a crocodile in a camp, summer camp for kids, and they get targeted. So I don't know, these ones sound like a lot of fun as well. I don't have any of the Spine Tinglers yet, so fingers crossed that I am able to find some in the future. Next we have Fright Time by Rochelle Larkin, and what I like about this one is that each volume would have 3 short stories in it. So it's kind of like a different format from Goosebumps because you only get 1 story, but I thought it was great especially for younger readers that just, you know, want to read shorter stories. And similar to Goosebumps, you can read them out of order and still understand everything because they are separate stories. They were published between 1995 and 1996, and these ones are more for YA readers than middle grade ones, so these are a little bit more adult, I guess, than the middle grade ones. And a lot of people have praised this series. I sadly also have no copies of it, so I have not read it, but I've heard from a lot of people that the writing style is really good and that even as an adult you would really enjoy these ones, so I'm really desperate to find them now. The next series is Creepers by Edgar J. Hyde, and from this one I do own several volumes. I also don't have the complete collection, but hopefully one day I will. There's a total of 13 books and they were published somewhere between 1998, and I've seen some that say publication first published in 2007, so I don't know if Goodreads is correct or not, but it seems that it was a big span of time for only 13 volumes. These are ghost stories from children from ages from 7 to 12, so it is for middle grade readers. It was first published in the UK and it got really popular. It was translated to other languages, so it's funny that I had never heard of these when I was younger either. There's a lot of these series that for some reason never got to me, even though I was a kid in the 90s. But I have the joy now as an adult to try to find them and read them. In the Creepers books, there's also not just frights, but also a lot of fun and humor, which is something that we also got in Goosebumps. And of course the children tend to be, as always, smarter than the adults. These are also illustrated. The way that they are written, they're very easy for middle grade readers to get into and, you know, maybe have their first kind of scary stories with a little bit of fun, a little bit of silliness to them. The author has written a total of like 40 books, all for younger readers. So I might have to try to check other books by the author and see if they are also this type of Goosebumps books that I love to read. The next series is a series that I really have enjoyed and that sadly stopped at 4 volumes, and I'm still sad about it. It's called the Monster Street series and it is by J.H. Reynolds. I did a reading blog back when I was still living in Germany about me reading the 4 books in the series, and I kind of miss that series because they had the right amount of creepiness for middle grade readers. Like, some of the books were really intense. My favorite one was Carnival, and it was quite intense for middle grade readers, I have to admit. So I'm really sad that it was only 4 volumes, but they are so worth your time. The Monster Street books starts with a book about a werewolf and family, and I really enjoyed that one. I kept going, loved the 4 volumes, and there is even one about Halloween if you're looking for a short book for this Halloween season. The chapters are all quick and fun to read, and there's always a cliffhanger that makes you want to keep reading. The author I've seen has also written another middle grade series called Octobers, and I think it's also spooky, so I really want to try this one as well. Sadly, I've seen this series also has only 4 books. He did it again, but I think I would like to find those 4 books and read them in a vlog because I have really enjoyed the experience of reading the Monster Street books back to back. Next we have a series that it's kind of modern, which is called Fright Vision, and I think this one did something really well, which is they gave us something a little bit more modern than Goosebumps, but it kind of took the essence and what made Goosebumps good books. It took that, it kept it, but then it turned it into something a little bit more modern. The author himself describes his books as Goosebumps meets Stranger Things, so that's already sold for me, and I have been meaning to start this series, but I still haven't. So another possible idea for a reading vlog. You know, I love to read series or this type of books in reading vlogs and just binge them back to back. There's a total of 7 books that were published between 2019 and 2023, so 7 books that are probably kind of novella length, under 200 pages, should be doable. Each book is of course a standalone nightmare, so you can read them out of order again, which is something that I think makes a lot of sense, especially if you have kids, you know, that want to enjoy a little book and then move on. And it's also a great way for kids nowadays to get introduced to spooky books. And last but definitely not least, we have the Shiver Point book series by Gabrielle Dillon. And this is fairly new. The books have been published between 2023 and 2025. I recently did a vlog in which I read the 4 books that have been published thus far. And I do hope the series continues, because if you have watched my vlog, you probably know that my favorite book from the 4 was actually the last one that was just published in February 2025. So obviously I want and I need this series to continue. This is probably one of the newest series that I know of that are very similar to Goosebumps. However, there are differences. We are always based in the town of Shiver Point, but we always follow the same characters. We follow the Shiver Squad, which is a group of kids that, because of the mysterious things that happen in their town, had to join forces to fight against evil, against the supernatural, against monsters, against everything they encountered. So you basically have a bunch of kids trying to save the world and themselves from all of these different bad things that always seem to happen at Shiver Point. This is a series that I would definitely buy if I would have kids that age, because I think the stories have a lot of heart. The characters are very different. There's a lot of representation. There is such good messages in these books, and about, you know, finding yourself and just accepting who you are, where you come from, about the relationship between the kids and the parents, and the kids always seem to really love and respect their parents. And even though not all the relationships between parents and kids are perfect, because they shouldn't be, there never are, I think that it would teach kids a lot of good things. So this is definitely a series that I would buy myself if I would have kids that age. But of course, as an adult, I really enjoyed this series. I think it is one of those series that the level of creepiness is on the higher side, so they really work well for me. And those were, you guys, my 10 recommendations of book series that you can try if you have enjoyed Goosebumps. I know some of these might be hard to find, others might already be available for your Kindle as well, so hopefully you guys can find some of these. I know these are all more vintage, but there's a couple of new series that I have mentioned that you can try if you cannot find the older ones. I'm also still trying to find more Goosebumps books. I am far from having the full collection, but I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for those Goosebumps books, because I would like to have a full collection one day. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, you guys. Let me know down below if there's any other themed videos you want me to do, or any other type of book recommendations you would like to see from me, or movie recommendations for that matter. And let me know down below if you know of any other book series that are similar to Goosebumps, or even maybe a standalone, because sometimes a standalone book can also have that Goosebumps vibe. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye!